Hello. Hey, hi, howdy, hello. Hope you're all doing alright tonight. Hey, Easy Street. What's up? So, I've been watching a little bit of this and that today. Boss Lady actually tried to actually say that the reason she's been so full of shit and getting called out for it is because she was running a social experiment. Ma'am, you weren't running a social experiment. You lied and you got caught, and now you're trying to play it off like you're some kind of hyper intelligent person that just fooled everybody. You are not that intelligent, honey. But anyway, one of the first things we're going to talk about today is what they call a banshee. And those come from Irish folklore. But not only Irish folklore, you also see them a lot in Norse folklore. One thing that people don't often realize is that a lot of Irish's folklore and the Nordic folklore go hand in hand because they have a lot in common, like deity wise. Beliefs and religions and paganistic values are much the same. Um, I believe that really the only difference between the Nordic deities and Irish deities is their names. They're the same gods, same entities, um, just different names, essentially. And you'll see that a lot during that era, and not just with the Irish and the Norse. Most of your European cultures shared the same pagan beliefs, just changed the names of the gods around. But how is that? A people separated by oceans and thousands of miles, never interacting, never communicating, having known nothing about one another. How are they so similar? How does that happen? Could it be um, that their deities actually did exist? Because how could people separated, like I said, by thousands, sometimes millions of miles, oceans, it's just, it's very difficult to explain how people vastly separated, um, and not even acquainted really share the same deities if there weren't something to it. It's just interesting to me. Anyway, so we're going to take a look at the banshee. The Banshee also has ties with Nordic mythology. The Banshee dates back even before the Nordic peoples. They believe they even have something similar. Um, and I want to say Middle Eastern cultures also have something equivalent to a banshee. The Middle Eastern peoples also have what you call a jinn. We'll also take a look at the jinn today. Very interesting entities they are. The jinn are not, contrary to popular belief, they're not actually ghosts. Jinn are, I don't believe they were ever human. They are very dangerous, chaotic, malevolent. They are not pleasant beings. Um, they aren't altogether kind or compassionate nor even human in any way. They aren't to be toyed with. I have seen various videos where they believe they're encountering a jinn and they taunt it and antagonize it. It's not a good idea. Hey, Dark, I'm going to drop a link for someone to come up here and discuss these things and watch some videos and hang out with me if they want to. If not, we're just going to move along and watch some interesting tidbits. Ooh, Sherlock. Hey, Dark. I was watching a show called Grimm. I was also doing some research. Um, I used to study mythology and folklore. I studied it in college. I also studied it in high school. It's always fascinated me very much. Grimm is a really good show. I like it because it talks about some of the stuff I enjoy, supernatural stuff. Um, I dropped the link in the chat. If one of you want to grab it and come up here, you're more than welcome. We're just going to cover a couple of things on banshees. We're also going to take a look at jinn and various differences and kind of go over the equivalent in other cultures, so to speak. Some people mistake the jinn as demonic. I'm not sure I believe that that's entirely the case either, because they can be benevolent. Like, they don't typically just come out and mess with you for no reason. You usually have to provoke a jinn for them to interact with you. They don't interact with you on a pleasant level, I can say that. Um, I don't believe I've ever seen a case of a jinn doing people favors. Now, there is a common misconception that jinn are genies. They are not genies. And genies are not what you think they are. They are not jovial, gift giving little powder puff spirits stuck in a jar. Oftentimes they are very angry, and if they give you something, you will pay for it. I'm just saying, nothing is free from a genie. Be very, very careful. I'm very leery. I'm having snacks, so bear with me. So here we're gonna look at the banshee and learn a little bit together about banshees. And maybe where they come from, or a bit of where they come from, or at least get a good idea.
Season, my favorite time of year, so I thought I would do a video on the banshee. Most people know of the banshee as a scary ghost woman that wails to warn of death, but there's a lot more to it. I'm going to go into the story of the banshee, the origin behind her, and I'm also going to share with you guys a personal experience that my family had with the banshee. Most people aren't sure if the banshee is real or not, but this is 100% a true story. I'll leave that till the end of the video, and if you like this kind of thing, please give this video a like, subscribe for more, and let's get started. So first up, what is a banshee? The name banshee comes from the Irish ban she, which means woman of the mounds or woman of the other world. Ban means woman and she means either mounds or other world. And they are said to be supernatural messengers sent by the other world. There isn't just one banshee that goes around visiting all the families in Ireland. It's said that each family had their own banshee. Traditionally, it was only the 5 original clans of Ireland that had them, and they were the true Irish. And they were the O'Grady's, the O'Briens, the O'Connors, the O'Neills, and the Kavanaghs. I think I got that right. They were said to be the only families that had a banshee, but now, centuries later, all the intermarriage and everything, I think most Irish people probably have lineage from one of those true clans. So you could say that now probably every Irish family has their own banshee. A typical description of her is she's usually only heard, and some people say she's headless, red eyes, and some say young, some say old. So they are different descriptions. But I suppose if every family does have their own separate banshee, then that would make sense that they all look different. But the main,
or they can also choose how they choose to appear to you. They don't all appear the same because it varies person to person. It also highly depends on the interaction. If a banshee comes to you to aid you, they're not going to try to frighten you. They're going to pick something that doesn't seem threatening. They're going to appear pleasant to look upon. However, if you anger the wrath of a banshee, she very likely is going to come to you in a visage intended to frighten you. Hey, Dark, did you want to come up here, hon? I know I'd posted a link, I just didn't catch if you were done eating or not.
the usual description of her is that she is an old lady with long white hair dressed in black. Some people believe the banshee is a fairy, but fairies live in communities and tend to interact with humans sometimes, whereas the banshee is a solo death messenger. And so, yeah, the main belief is that she's not a fairy. The next thing is, what does a banshee do? To sum it up, a banshee visits a household in the days before death to warn them that death is coming. She wails and howls, and it's a very scary experience, very loud and eerie and terrifying. And her wails are kind of between an animal cry or howl. It's a very scary experience, and she doesn't cause death, she just warns of it. And some people say that the person that hears the banshee is the one going to die. Others say it could be anyone in the family, and she usually only visits at night. So when you hear the banshee, there's nothing you can do except know that death is coming. So it's a very scary experience, not just listening to her wails, but also knowing, okay, someone in your family is going to die. Next is the origin of the banshee. The history of the banshee dates back to the 8th century. When someone died, their respect and stature among the community was measured by how upset people were at the funeral. The more tears, the more respect they had. So families used to, this woman would come in and she would do this kind of howl, wail, cry, very loud, and it was called keening.
Now, I know that among multiple cultures and eras, they would have what they would call mourners, where or town criers, or basically the gist of it is, I know in Middle Eastern times and in ancient Roman time, I know Julius Caesar, when he had his funeral, they hired a great deal of the citizens to cry out for him because it was a status thing. You don't have to add anything, you just conversate. But I don't see you, babe. I don't see you. My Streamlabs may be fucking up again, dark. Sorry. Something's been wrong with my StreamYard. I haven't been able to, like, there you are. Finally see you.
Hello.
There it goes. Hey, my StreamYard's stupid. Yeah, women would wail and screech and howl. I know that Julius Caesar's family hired, I want to say, several hundred mourners that they were paid to cry and make a scene. Essentially, it was a status quo. You know, the more mourners you could have at your funeral, the more prestigious you were. It was a class thing, very much a class thing, and you were judged based on how many mourners you were able to hire for your loved one. If you could only afford like a handful of mourners, you were considered poor and looked down on. That would have been a shameful thing if you had any less than 10. Like 10 is poverty level. Anything less than that, then you were a peasant. Really. And they would look down on you. You would be shamed publicly for doing a disservice to your relative that had passed away. Like, it was a big thing, even in the Roman times. And I know in the Middle Eastern periods, it was much the same, even dating back to the time of Jesus. Like, Jesus had paid mourners, to my recollection, and I believe there were several of the hierarchy of Israel and Judea that had documented mourners. So this dates back centuries, like even to the times of King David. Um, it's always been a thing. And the Irish equivalent of that would be a banshee. And people have really demonized the banshee when all the banshee was the equivalent of a mourner. And she's just basically like an oracle coming to warn you that death is near, death is coming. It was meant as a favor, not a curse. It was helpful back in her day where she was like a commonplace because people, would be warned that somebody they knew were about to die, so they should prepare, get their affairs in order so that they could offer a decent passing. All very interesting, but somewhere along the line, they kind of demonized a lot of things that were never actually evil, um, much like the Banshee. Yes, right up to Victorian times, you're correct, Shelley.
And the women were called keeners. And this word comes from the Irish word for cry, which is queena. These keeners were mostly lower class women and they were paid in alcohol. So because of this, they were sinners and they were said to be doomed in afterlife to become banshees.
Now that's my kind of payment. Only I would be like, pay me in snacks, and I will screech until the sun comes up. I would. Somebody give me a handful of snacks, I'll walk behind a casket and screech. I'm really good at screeching. Don't believe me? Ask my audience. I do it all the time.
As keeners, when they were alive, they would cry after death. And as banshees in the afterlife, they would cry before death. And again, it was only for the true Irish prominent families. Their respect was so high that they wouldn't just get tears after they died, they'd get tears before they died. I don't know what came first, keeners or banshees, but I don't think many people believe that banshees were keeners when they were alive. I think people kind of see that as, typical church warning. If you're sinful and immoral, then look, you're going to end up as a death messenger in the afterlife. There are other stories of the origin of the banshee. Some people say she's a sacred ancestor, so that's why I or howl. It's a very scary experience, and she doesn't cause death, she just warns of it. And some people say that the person that hears the banshee is the one going to die. Others say it could be anyone in the family, and she usually only visits at night. So when you hear the banshee, there's nothing you can do except know that death is coming. So it's a very scary experience, not just listening to her wails, but also knowing, okay, someone in your family is going to die. Next is the origin of the banshee. The history of the banshee dates back to the 8th century. When someone died, their respect and stature among the community was measured by how upset people were at the funeral. Families used to hire a woman to cry to heighten the sense of grief. And this woman would come in and she would do this kind of howl, wail, cry, very loud. And it was called keening. And the women were called keeners. And this
Told you. Leave it to me. to tell you cool, nerdy shit about the Middle Ages. I mean, I am in a historical society that focuses on the Middle Ages. I mean, you know, in the SCA, we actually, like, when one of. See, you had to actually fight for the crown in my society. You know, there's a tournament every 6 months. The the crown changes hands. Well, when the present king and queen, quote unquote, pass away or get like Minecrafted, there are people, gathered around wailing and making all kinds of racket. It's pretty funny. I mean, it's not meant to be, but it's quite funny. I did too, Easy Street, only I feel like I should have been born in like the Middle Ages because I'm more of the swords and shields and knights and armor kind of girl, I would have loved all of that. Like the lack of people and that you only had to socialize like at very specific times and you spent most of the time in your home and you didn't bother people. You just, minded your own business. And back then, gossip was actually not only frowned upon, but it was illegal. Like, you get some serious shit. So you didn't have a whole lot of drama and bullshit. Or unnecessary bullshit. Unless you were Henry VIII. Henry VIII had a whole lot of drama. Sin eaters. I mean, we can cover them. I have no problem. Like, a lot of people may not even know what those are.
Never heard of them.
Really? We may have to cover that then.
This word comes from the Irish word for cry, which is queena. These keeners were mostly lower class women and they were paid in alcohol. So because of this, they were sinners and they were said to be doomed in afterlife to become banshees. As keeners, when they were alive, they would cry after death. And as banshees in the afterlife, they would cry before death. And again, it was only for the true Irish prominent families. Their respect was so high that they wouldn't just get tears after they died, they'd get tears before they died. I don't know what came first, keeners or banshees, but I don't think many people believe that banshees were keeners. And when they were convinced yourself, oh, maybe I didn't hear it. The next night, again, the exact same time, 2 a.m., the wailing again comes in slowly through the window, hovers right above her head on the bed for about a minute, and then leaves. So at this point, she's like, okay, that's the second time it's happened. I'm really, really scared now. Can we go to a hotel or something? But my grandfather convinced her, it's nothing. Look, you're imagining it's a dream or whatever. So the third night, it happens again. The fourth night, my grandfather was going away on business, and she said, there is no way I'm staying in this room, in this bed by myself. After the last 3 nights, something has come wailing above my head. So she went across the hall and across and down the hall into my aunt's bedroom, and she slept in her twin bed. And at 2 a.m., she was awake, kind of fearing, is it coming? Is it going to happen? And again, she heard the wailing sound. She heard it come into her bedroom across the hall, come in again through the window, and then it came out into the hall. and traveled down and found her in this room, and again hovered above her head, wailing, scaring her. And again, after about a minute, left. And she was so terrified. She didn't know what it was. She just knew that this thing kept hovering above her, wailing every night at 2 a.m. And then the next night, my grandfather was home, so they slept in their bedroom. And at 2 a.m., she was awake because she was preparing herself. Like, she was so scared of this wail. So 2 a.m. came, and the wailing didn't come. Instead, the phone rang, and it was someone saying that my great aunt had passed away. True story, 100% true. I know people can find reasons or excuses and oh, this is what really happened, but my grandmother is not one to exaggerate. As I said, she's like she would only tell the truth, and she was so adamant that this happened.
Lisa, the only trouble with that is Lisa would be crying for crack. And I'm not real sure you can do crack in the afterlife, you know. She'd probably have it like in abundance. She wouldn't be able to do anything with it. She'd have all the crack in the world and not be able to smoke it. Wouldn't that suck? I'm just saying, you know.
That would be sad. For her.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm a little bit sick.
Okay.
I told you this earlier, but like, I haven't felt good. I had like some cold air or something get like deep in my ears, and I've been breathing a lot of cold air at night here lately. So I haven't been. I woke up with like a low line fever this morning.
It's not good.
No, it isn't. I can't afford to be sick right now. I need my hours at work. And I don't have time to be sick. Ain't nobody got time for that. Alright, so there's the Banshee, and we will cover.
Yeah, but should be calling PayPal, PayPal.
PayPal.
She would be willing. She'll just be.
Cash up.
So, you'd always know it's her.
Yeah, all that boo-hooing she does. Yeah.
I don't know. She was decent today. If you never get her talking about something else, she's okay.
Yeah.
But that's the
Somewhat.
problem. She's better. At least she was more.
Yeah. She's still a horrible person.
Yeah, I didn't say she wasn't. But she's tolerable when she's talking normal.
Alright, here's the Jinn.
Probably. I wouldn't doubt that easy.
You rub said lamp, and then a weird cryptic spirit comes out and tells you they will grant you 3 wishes. It sounds too good to be true, and that's because it is. Most of the time you'll either end up dead or in a worse situation than before. Modern day genie can be outright strange characters. but even they pale in comparison to the original stories and legends. The westernized term genie comes from the Arabic word jinn, ancient spirits and demons who bring a whole new meaning to the phrase, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, Jinn and Genie are two entirely different things. Um, Jinn are not going to be granting any wishes. They're going to be busy trying to make you not breathe anymore. 'Cause they're not friendly. Hootst ever tried to convince people that they are mistaken and should probably just
No.
not fuck with them because they clearly are not very smart. Oh God, yes. I love that show. I love who they have casted as Odin. He was actually in the show Deadwood, and it was a really good show. He had Timothy Oliphant in it, and he's a cutie. American Gods is pretty accurate to the personalities in a lot of ways. It's horribly inaccurate in other ways, but it's a really good show. Right, Easy Street. It's good. It's well written. I will give them that. At least they have a basic knowledge of the gods and deities and a basic understanding of mythology. I was not displeased. As a Norse pagan, I'm actually at peace with the show. I was not offended. I think they did a good job. Not offending us. Because let's face it, they could have easily just shat out some kind of Hollywood version of our gods and told us to suck it up. But they actually did a fair amount of research. And they did a decent job. They need a fourth and final season. I feel ripped off. It really took me a minute to understand what was happening. Yeah, I think they did a good job on that cliffhanger because you really are left needing more. And it leaves you in a place where you will definitely be watching for another season. I think it's excellent marketing on their part. Very, very good strategy. Marketing strategy, at least. Yeah, you have a point. Um, but again, the show as a whole, I believe, did a very good job. I was pleased. I was pissed where they left it off, but like, that's marketing for you.
Today's video has been made possible by Audible. I enjoy reading as much as the next person, but most of the time I just want to sit back, relax, and have someone else immerse me in a story, which I imagine is why many of you watch and listen to this channel. Audible gives me the flexibility to pop in my earphones and listen to whatever I want wherever I am. With Audible Plus, you have thousands of titles to choose, from audiobooks to podcasts, comedy shows, and tons of Amazon originals. A membership to Audible Plus gives you access to any title in the Audible catalog with no limitation. You can download the Audible app on all smartphones and tablets and listen to your favorite titles offline wherever you are at any time. I'm a big fan of Stephen Fry's Greek myth series, and I recently finished listening to the latest edition, Troy, which is a fascinating listen for anyone interested in Greek mythology. For those who don't know, fellow YouTuber Legends of History and myself,
And I've been doing a lot of picking back up with my mythology and paranormal, supernatural research kind of thing. I had to get back to myself. Because if all you do is sit around and watch mindless dribble drama and get all caught up in the stupidity of it all, it rots your brain. It really does. And I would rather keep my brain intact. So there's that. Yeah, he's right. But I encourage everyone to, for your own peace of mind and mental and emotional growth, pick up a book. I've been reading a lot here lately, and that's helped. Kind of take a break from social media, as it were. I don't really consider YouTube social media per se because it's just a video platform, but some people treat YouTube as if it's the end all be all of everything. And that's crazy to me. Right, Easy Street? I love reading. Um, we have one of the oldest stores in the United States up here, and I love it. It's not a library; it's a bookstore, but it used to be a library type deal at one point. Um, but it's always housed books. Um, it's got that really old, rolling ladder and like all the shelves that basically go up to the ceiling. It's like a basically Victorian book nook, basically. I love it so much. I'll have to take you guys one day to show you the bookstore. Right now, I'm stuck on R.A. Salvatore, The Legend of Drizzt Do'Urden, and I'm really enjoying those. It's like a D&D series, but it's really good. And I've also been getting back into the mythology stuff too. So you can also, if you don't like reading, you can also go the audiobook method, where you go to bed with an audiobook. I do that some nights, and it's really nice. Especially if you're a vivid dreamer. A lot of the times, if I'm going to bed listening to a good book, I'll have a dream where I am wherever they're reading about, and it's really awesome. some reason my computer's being stupid. I'm trying to get it to stop being stupid. I need to get a desktop.
Published a book last year titled Greek Mythology Explained. It's also available on Audible for you to listen to. Now is the best time of the year to join Audible. With their special holiday offer, your first 6 months will only cost you $4.95 a month, as opposed to the regular price of $7.95. You can join today by visiting audible.com/mythology and fiction. That's audible.com/mythology and fiction. Or you can text mythology and fiction to 500 500. So don't miss out. Download Audible today. Legends of jinn are most commonly associated with Islamic myth and stories even older in the Arabian Peninsula. However, entities similar to the jinn appear all throughout the world. In Islamic tradition, the term jinn is used as a collective to refer to any group of supernatural creatures. It can also be used to refer to a specific creature. For example, you may have a piece of work about a jinn, or you may have a group of miscellaneous demons and spirits that are referred to as jinn or jinn communities. Like demons, they can be evil, but in some stories, jinn are benevolent. They are summoned and bound by a sorcerer, not too different from the stories of genie. Before Islamic belief, evil spirits who reside in the desert and unclean places, they would disguise themselves to passers-by as animals. Others believe the jinn were closer to deities, and as a result, they were worshipped. When Islam became the religion of choice, these deities may have been perceived as having pagan influences, and thus they played a much smaller role in everyday life. Despite once being seen as deities, they were never considered immortal or invincible. There are notions of armed men being able to kill a jinn. They are, however, mostly just theories, as jinn could not only shapeshift but also turn invisible, so good luck trying to kill something you can't even see. Jinn were also considered the spreaders of disease and mental illness. They could possess one's mind and body. As we move into scripture, the overall stature of the jinn changes. In the story of Solomon, jinn were spirits of nature, similar to the previous pagan deities. Solomon was gifted the power to talk to animals and spirits, and thus he was able to rein in the unruly jinn and command them to help build the first temple in ancient Jerusalem. In the Quran itself, the jinn are mentioned a grand total of 29 times. Most of this occurs in the 72nd chapter, titled Al-Jinn, or the Jinn. In order to maintain the notion of there being only one true God, the jinn shift from deities to lesser spirits, who in terms of hierarchy in relation to God are roughly level with humans, meaning they are subject to his judgment in death. They exist somewhere in between our realm and the spectral realm. In one hadith, the jinn are divided into 3 distinct groups. Jinn who fly through the air, jinn who could take the shape of dogs and snakes, and jinn who travel in the same way as humans. Scholars have interpreted the Quran's use of jinn to mean one of 2 things: an entity or being that exists in a plane invisible to humans. Therefore, we can categorize angels and demons as jinn, but not every jinn is an angel or demon. You then have a description that paints them in a smokeless fire and inhabited the earth before Adam and the first humans. They were faster and stronger, but they still lived like humans in many ways. They still had to eat, sleep, and drink, and when they died, they would be sent to heaven or hell, depending on their actions. They were also divided into separate tribes, with each one being created from a different mixture of fire. Wars between light and dark, angelic and demonic jinn occurred quite often. It even became common to explain violent storms as warring tribes of jinn. Invisible to the human eye, these storms represented the chaos and aftermath of these battles. This conflict can also be explained by taking a look at another traditional story, which tells us why the jinn may have disappeared. The angels were created on Wednesday, the jinn on a Thursday, and 1,000 years later humans on a Friday. These three races coexisted peacefully, until corruption, violence, and greed overcame the jinn. The warnings of God were ignored, and he was given no choice but to send the angels to purge the jinn. Most of them subsequently died, and the few jinn that did survive were exiled from Earth. These traditions involving jinn spread across more than just Arabia, reaching Turkey, North Africa, and even the Balkans. In Morocco, exorcisms were performed for those who were thought to be possessed by a jinn. However, they couldn't just possess anyone. They would target people whom they considered vulnerable, often referred to as a tired soul. Someone who was unhappy, mentally unstable, or just depressed. Hence the association with jinn and mental illness. Another widespread belief is that the jinn live underground, where they plot and scheme against humanity. They surface only to spread illness and cause harm to those who mistreat others. This extends to possession and kidnapping children. In this case, the jinn exist as a moral lesson or reminder. So how did we go from jinn to genie? The most obvious example being the genie in Disney's Aladdin, who is far from an evil spirit. This and many other tales were inspired by the Arabic text 1001 Nights, a collection of Middle Eastern folk tales from the 8th to the 14th century. For many of these tales, their source of origin is unknown, but there are numerous influences from Arabic, Persian, and Greek to Indian, Turkish, and Chinese. So it's an amalgamation of cultures from...
Hey, Kiwi. Are you enjoying this dark? You learning?
Yes. It's very interesting.
It is. Jinn are very interesting entities. They have an interesting history. They're also extremely dangerous, by the way.
Hello, Kiwi.
Kiwi!
basically everywhere. In English, it's also commonly referred to as the Arabian Nights. Here the jinn make an appearance in a number of different stories, the most noticeable being Aladdin and the Wonderful Lamp. In this story, Aladdin isn't too different from the Disney variation, a young, mischievous, misguided lad who is found in the streets of a Chinese city by a sorcerer, who claims to be the brother of Aladdin's father, so his long-lost uncle. And no, before you ask, this man is not called Jafar. He claims to be Mustafa the Tailor. He convinces Aladdin and his mother that he only wants to help them, but first he needs a favor, of course. Inside of a cave there is the most wonderful oil lamp in all the land. If Aladdin is able to retrieve it, he promises they will never be poor again. The cave, however, is magically booby-trapped and dangerous enough that Mustafa himself would never dare to enter, but he does give Aladdin a magical ring for protection. Once inside, to no one's surprise, Mustafa double-crosses Aladdin and leaves him trapped inside the cave. In despair of his situation, Aladdin begins to rub his hands. In doing so, he accidentally rubs the ring, and to his surprise, out pops a jinn, or genie. Aladdin returns home to his mother with a magical ring, a jinn, and a wonderful lamp. His mother decides maybe they should sell the lamp in order to afford food. And as she begins wiping it down, out pops a second jinn, much more powerful than the first. With help from this jinn, Aladdin becomes extremely rich and marries the Sultan's daughter. Hearing of Aladdin's meteoric rise, Mustafa makes his return, knowing only the lamp could have caused this much good fortune. He tricks Aladdin's wife into giving him the lamp, and his first command or wish is to take the palace and everything inside of it back to his home. When Aladdin returns Genie from the ring, he tells Aladdin that he cannot undo the magic of the second jinn, but he can send him to the palace. Once there, he kills Mustafa and returns his palace to its rightful place. This isn't how the story ends, though. Mustafa's older brother vows to avenge his death. He transforms himself into an elderly woman and earns his way inside of Aladdin's palace by convincing his wife he has magical powers. The jinn in the lamp, however, sees through this disguise and alerts Aladdin of the imposter, who is then killed. Now we get the happy ending, where Aladdin eventually becomes Sultan and lives a happy, evil sorcerer-free life. When it comes to modern fiction, jinn and genie have been interpreted in a variety of ways. Some are indeed lesser gods, and others are magical entities summoned through the use of dark magic and witchcraft. One trope that has certainly stuck is being granted.
Dude, I had no idea that was the real story of Aladdin.
Me either.
I hope you do okay, Kiwi. I hope all the tests come back that you're perfectly fine. We love you.
We love you, Chewie.
But that's interesting as hell. I had no idea. Hmm, who knew?
Granted 3 wishes when summoning a genie. Now these wishes have a habit of going sideways, and I'm sure fans of the Wishmaster franchise will be more than familiar with a tricky jinn. The jinn have appeared in stories for thousands of years, and it's always interesting to see ideas from different cultures merge together and create new stories. Whether it's a race of invisible spirits at war, entities that live underground and punish humans, a boy in his magical lamp, or just classic Robin Williams.
Dark, no, not Dark, but Kiwi, I've refrained from saying anything, but Harry is somewhere else. And I think he's going to be somewhere else for quite a while. I'm not going to make a big drama about it. There was some stuff going on behind the scenes I'm not happy with. And I'd really prefer to leave it at that. Um, I hope he and that's really all I'm gonna say.
You can't really go wrong with a story of a jinn, unless you're the one making the 3 wishes. Because in that case, I wish you the best of luck. As always, I've been your host, Mythology and Fiction Explained.
It's not that he's missing, it's that we've parted ways. And that is the gentlest way I think I can put it. Um, so there's that. Anyway, um, let's see. There was something else I wanted to look at. I'm gonna scare Dark now with some scary videos.
Don't scare Dark.
And by scare Dark, I mean I'm probably gonna scare.
Don't scare Dark.
Appeared from the corner of her eye. Now, given that this incident took place at her grandparents' house, a place abundant with numerous vintage items, she finds it unsurprising that this happened. Some of these items, as she believes, could be cursed or haunted, but even if they weren't, she would still be afraid of coming back to this place, and it's all because of this incident. The following is her footage. Watch.
Okay, we're gonna play a game.
We are not playing a game.
We're gonna play a game.
It's called
It's
Scare
gonna be
Panda.
called Fact or Cap. We can also do another game that's like paired up with this game called Count Pandas Squeeze. If something scares me.
Excuse me, we're gonna laugh our asses off.
Me too, Easy Street. So we're gonna play Fact or Cap, where after each of these video clips, you, the audience, will vote on whether that was real or fake.
I like that game, Shelley.
No,
Yes,
I don't know. I don't like that game.
I like that game.
No,
I like that game very much.
no. No Scare Panda.
Scare the
This is
panda.
bullshit. No Scare the Panda.
Scare the panda.
No. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. So you guys will vote after these clips, fact or cap, and then you can count my squeeze if something scares me. Why does this lady have giant dolls?
Because they're
Why?
pretty.
Why does every one of these fucking videos have fucking dolls in them?
Because they're so pretty.
No. No. That doll in that chair over there is creepy as hell, and I swear to God, if that thing moves, I'm out of here.
Okay, then I ain't gonna tell you.
Look at your power bill. I guarantee you this. Yeah, my power bill is frightening. No, 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 no. Wait, wait, wait. Do not go closer to that monstrosity. Further away. That's a creepy ass doll. Why?
This thing just moved.
Mm-mm.
Football Giants. Boy, all the talking head would have been screaming about the Dallas Cowboys and sticking forward in this organization. So again, kudos to the Cowboys going on the road, getting a good win, see how they react.
There's a saying in golf, there's no pictures on the scorecard. If you're down, like you don't care if it's by 5 or it's going to be like, you just happy that you moved to 2-2. The injury to Parsons, and we don't know anything at this point, he just left by a part of the shoe ball. How do you assess what that man needs to do? It's not better if he's out of it.
I mean, that would be, if he's missing any significant time, I think he's lost. He's the best player on the side of football. Really, because they have to be playing from the hand. But if you don't have that much ball,
The door just moved.
Winning percentage goes to 60% when they're waking up.
33 proposed 100 affordable housing laws, including the
Be quiet early on, much more involved.
Are you real?
absolutely. I mean, between the red zone
You can do it again.
and the rush attack, you know, I think the Giants are getting some chance to really try to pound.
I won't watch.
To be fair.
It was at this point that Jayla knew that what she had seen earlier wasn't just in her head, but rather something real. Somehow, the mannequin begins to move. Only moving ever so slightly, the mannequin seemingly comes alive. But strangely, it's only when Jaylen isn't looking directly at the doll. It's as if it's trying its best not to get caught by being very subtle. However, seeing that her mirror was catching its reflection, she tricks it into showing itself move. Now, there is something else about this video that viewers have noticed. Whether a coincidence or not, viewers can't help but think that the balloon and the door closing on its own played a role in diverting Jaylen's attention, almost as if they were meant to prevent her from seeing the doll. It is strange how both objects intervened whenever she tried seeing it, but despite their efforts in obstructing her view, she finally catches it. So then, the question is begged, just how exactly did the doll move on its own, and was it merely a coincidence that things were trying to block her view? Like most videos, there has yet to be a definitive answer to this question. But as always, let me know what you think down below.
Why would you even have that creepy ass doll anyway? Like, you're asking for it at that point. Because why would you want a doll, like a full size, like adult sized doll that looks like a creepy old man? Like, no.
In the following video, a man is inspecting a property where something very alarming was caught on camera the previous night.
See, guess what? Meron na naman kaming mga hindi...
As it turns out, a homeless person had broken into the property, and it's Benji's job, the person recording this, to get him out of there. However, unbeknownst to Benji,
Yeah, I'm calling cap on that one. Because one, she didn't freak out at all. For two, that looked staged. Like somebody like had a string and maybe was pulling in one way or another. And the balloon was just following airflow because she had just left the fucking room, and the fucking air tunnel you cause by movement through a room, it could have got caught in that and just kind of appeared to be following her, but it wasn't. She could have had the vents on, it could have blown it. Everything is not supernatural. Like, some things have rational explanations. So, like, for various reasons, I'm calling cap on that because it just looked staged to me.
it wouldn't just be a squatter he encounters, but also something else. In his own words, this house terrifies him. It's the one place that he doesn't like to check for squatters. He often encounters them on the properties that he owns, which is why he's made this into a video series. But it's the following video from his whole series that has left viewers creeped out. This is what he caught.
Ayun. There is somebody in here. I know you're in there, man. Hello? Police!
For one, I would like to encourage all of you not to do that. It's illegal to represent yourself as law enforcement if you are not. Also, you're not going to have backup because you are not police. You should call the actual police before going into a situation like that. Because if it is a squatter, anything could happen. They could get violent with you. There could be more than one of them. It could go volatile very fast. One, don't go into a house like that alone. Two, don't represent yourself as the police. Just don't do it.
I know you're in there, man.
April's doing better, hon. She's home. Kiwi.
Yeah, she came in last night for a little bit.
What the hell?
She's recovered. Did you see that?
I missed it.
Somebody just walked right through that doorway. April is still recovering. She's getting her rest. She's at home. Hopefully she will feel better really soon. But keep an eye on that doorway because you'll see a very real person walk through the room. That is not a ghost, that's a person. This person. And they were way too calm. I'm calling bullshit. This was staged. Like, you're not going to be that calm if you see somebody walking through your house.
Oh, because I'd be freaking out.
She's in your house, man.
They just calmly exit the building and you don't know that person. Really bullshit. I'm calling staged.
It was seeing the door open by itself that spooked out Benji. His first thought upon seeing it move was that the squatter was in there, but strangely, that wasn't the case. He would eventually come to the conclusion that this was just a draft or a wind current that moved it. But fast forward to only a week later, and Benji uploads a video that completely changes this notion. Benji is back at the house, ready to confront the person inside. Expecting a squatter, he grabs his phone to record them. What he records, though, is a different type of encounter. Take a look.
Hello? Hello?
And why go back at night if you're not staging shit? I guarantee you what happened was the air draft moved the door and his audience screamed ghost, ghost, ghost. So he thought, oh, I can do something with this. And he goes back and stages a paranormal event. I guarantee you that's what happened.
Oh, yeah. I think I agree with
Because
you on this.
if you encountered a squatter, quote unquote, I believe he knew the person that was in his house. I don't believe that was a squatter. And two, his audience probably hyped him up about ghost, ghost, ghost. So he goes back and he's like, oh, I can do something with this. I'll get all kinds of views and clicks and all this if, it's haunted. It's bullshit. Hey, Tammy.
Hi, Tammy.
And why would you go back at night if you knew you were prone to squatters and how dangerous that is.
Good point. God damn it.
You wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't.
Hello?
Footage, although briefly seen, Benji immediately spots it before taking a second look. But when he looks again, it's not there. It stands motionless for just a moment before disappearing in an instant. Even weirder is that the camera seems to be either glitching or picking up something unseen.
It's called overlay. Dumbass. There's somebody sitting there and he's cut them out using editing software. That's very clearly edited. These people.
All of this happens before suddenly the door starts to partially close on its own. Now Benji, having dealt with many squatters before, naturally assumed that this was another trespasser, so he runs over to the person to confront them. But when he gets there, no squatter is found inside. To
Why
this
would you
day,
run up
Benji
to a
wonders what had been
squatter?
inside his house. But according to him, if he
You wouldn't.
That's all I'm
First
saying.
off, and you can tell that person was not inside the house. That was outside the window. And you can tell, like, that part of the window was blurry as shit, so he just took a fucking outline, I think, and tried to fucking finagle with it, but it blurred it. Either he overlaid that shadow, or he had somebody stand outside the window. I'm going with he overlaid a shadow on
I
it
don't know.
because it fucked the frame up.
More than likely.
had a guess, it definitely wasn't a squatter. Living somewhere in Georgia, a woman named Felicia had caught footage of something that's left her shaken up ever since it's happened. Although having watched this video multiple times, she still can't make sense of this footage. In the video, Felicia is seen playing with her dog on her back porch before suddenly it happens. It's easy to miss the first time, but upon replaying the footage and amplifying the audio, you hear this. The reason behind Felicia's fearful reaction is now clear. A disembodied voice had spoken to her. Listening closely, it sounds as if it's saying, "Get out." Understandably, Felicia runs away in a panic frenzy. She leaves the door open for her dog, but for some reason, he doesn't want to go inside. Even he is sensing something unusual. From the curtain behind Felicia,
her reaction and response were on point, and that dog was reacting to something.
I don't know.
I actually believe that one. The other ones, no. This one seems a little more believable.
Yeah, a little more believable, yeah.
Because, like, her reaction to that was pretty genuine. That just scared the shit out of her.
moving at the same time the voice is heard, to her dog being afraid of going inside, Felicia believes that this was paranormal. Now, no further clips have been posted by her, which only helps to make this incident a total mystery.
Makes me think more believable.
In the following video, a pair of teammates are passing a ball in front of a camera, showing audiences what they do before playing a match. It's Friday night at a soccer stadium, and both players are fully immersed in a small pre-game warm-up. But while both players pass the ball to each other, audiences notice something unusual in this footage. It wasn't until someone made a video pointing out something in the background that people started rewatching the original to see if it was true. To their shock, it was. As both players pass the ball to each other, this is captured.
And then when you get quicker, what tends to happen? More mistakes happen. But that is what development looks like. If you're cruising at a speed that's comfortable, yes, it looks good and it looks cleaner, but you're not going to get better. You have making mistakes here, and then you get to that level, and then you go again, and it's never ending. It's the same.
Now, the social media account that posted this video had no idea what was captured until tons of comments started coming in, mentioning the supposed ghost. It's recorded from a distance, but not so far that it's hard to make out something moving. Now, just to compare, there's a person standing up right here, and right across from them is a row of bleachers filled with people. Both are clearly recognizable as people, but this, even from the same distance, is unrecognizable. It's clear that something is moving, but it's not obvious as to what exactly is being seen. While some speculate that this might be the spirit of a legendary soccer player running in the bleachers, others are quite baffled by it. With no comment or explanation given by the account that posted this video, the question remains unanswered. Just what exactly was caught on camera?
That looked pretty genuine. Because nobody caught it.
Yeah.
Until, like, way after. And it wasn't. That would be like a residual haunting, though. It's just kind of moving through the motions. It's not doing anything harmful. And nobody, that they were just a sports channel. Why would they be posting that? You know, and they posted it not knowing until other people pointed it out.
True.
Hey, Weston.
Hey, Weston. Welcome to the room.
Now, the following video comes from Virginie, a mother who lives in a quaint house where it seems that things have gotten very unsafe for her family. Despite living in a safe neighborhood, it's the house itself that's been causing the most concern to Virginie. According to her, something is in this house, and it's messing with her family. From cabinets that are found open when no one had been inside the home, to her children seeing things in the dead of night. One can safely assume that the family has been put on edge ever since moving in. But out of everyone, it's the baby who happens inside the room. The following video is just one of many instances in which something inexplicable happens. But unlike other instances, this one has left the family pretty spooked. This is what they caught. Had it not been for the baby monitor inside the room, Virshini would not have known the source of the sudden noise. She searched the whole space, only to realize later that the noise had come from inside the dollhouse. But the source itself is what scares her. Moments before making a sound, the toy is seen hovering slightly off ground before being shot up into the air and making an audible clack. Virshini jumps up in response, as she later would.
That one looked real.
Oh, that's
Like the
weird.
ghost just kind of held it for a minute and slammed it down on the thing to startle her. And there couldn't have been a string because the thing would have moved again if she moved the house. I believe the last three have been pretty compelling. The ones before that were total crap, though.
When looking at the footage. Ever since then, she's taken safety measures to ensure this doesn't happen around her children. But still, the activity continues. Just like viewers, Virshini is left wondering how the toy moved and if there have been any other strange events in this room that weren't caught on camera. On October 2nd of 2024, a live broadcast on a TV news network left many viewers who tuned in completely spooked. The footage captured during this live transmission had nothing to do with the news report that was being covered. In fact, it was so out of place that viewers had to rewatch the broadcast to confirm what they saw. Now, thankfully, someone recorded the whole broadcast in question. Just like viewers, Shane was left creeped out upon seeing it. He replays the live stream and shows exactly what was caught. Watch.
Go ahead, Dad, play it. You'll see it. It starts in from up here. It comes down and does a swirl. It comes down, and there's another one that pops in over here.
She's contributor and former national. Depends. First, your reaction.
Now rewind it in slow-mo.
Security advisor. First, your reaction.
Now fast forward it in slow-mo how you did it earlier, because I could see it.
Now, the quality of Shane's video isn't exactly HD, which makes it hard to tell what's being seen. But fortunately, another viewer watching the same program recorded the incident. Take a look.
I'm calling cap. I think it was probably something on the lens. Could have been an insect. Could have been.
Right, that could have been way. Yeah, that definitely was an insect.
I don't think that's fair. I think it was probably an insect or something. Yeah. I don't know. I just. I don't buy it.
Having a closer look, one can see why many viewers replayed this exact moment on TV. It looks as if a dark, shadowy figure zips by. While the idea of this being a bug has been thought of, many comments claim that it can't be a bug, as it would have to be very close to the lens for us to notice it. This figure, whatever it might be, isn't as close. From thoughts of this being the Grim Reaper to the idea of this being a ghost, it's clear that viewers were spooked out of their minds. But whether ghost or not, I'll let you be the judge on what exactly was caught on camera. At around 11 p.m. on a Sunday night, a man quickly takes out his phone to record this exact spot shown on screen, where apparently something very strange happened.
Someone was walking by, bro, and they just disappeared when they got by the tree.
Someone or something had disappeared right in front of him, and he knows this for a fact, as he wasn't the only person to have seen this. Just like him, the man crossing the road had seen the figure vanish on the sidewalk. Having no other way of showing what just happened, the man continues to record in the hopes that it reappears. But as he films, this happens.
And she just disappeared in the sidewalk. What the fuck? I know you guys didn't believe me, but somebody walking by. ¿Qué pasó, güey? ¡Oh, güey, mira! Ahí va saliendo. What the... Mira. What the hell? Salió de la... What the... What is that? ¿Qué es eso, güey?
It appears that the man had fled upon seeing what looks to be a dark, shadowy figure manifest out of nowhere. It seemingly emerges out of the brick wall as if...
Yeah, that one seemed pretty legit. That dude freaked the fuck out. And it stopped that car. I don't know, Mr. A. I don't think so. But yeah, that was creepy.
somehow phasing through it. But looking closely, that doesn't appear to be the case. They, or it, just suddenly appears like it was already there. Knowing for sure that nothing had been there, the man continues to record in total disbelief. What just happened, according to him, is something that can't be explained. Now, it's hard to say for sure if that's so, especially with no further context or additional footage. But like always, I'll let you be the judge. Was a ghost caught on camera? Or had something else been captured? If you caught something creepy on camera, or if there's any ghost videos you'd like me to check out and include in the next compilation, you can... On July 20 of 2023, a radio station in South America was airing a live broadcast that left many viewers feeling disturbed.
I'll watch something else. Yeah, Mr. A gets around, but he be a hoe. Let's watch this one, Mr. Beardo. He debunks. There's a guy named Lee from Really Haunted, and he claims he's being haunted by Vlad, and it's stupid.
Nice. Read your brother's merch. I've got one. Mrs. Geek's got one. Of the people that have asked, Mrs. Geek is called Mrs. Geek because over on Twitch I'm called Bearded Geek Live, and my old YouTube channel was called Bearded Geek Reviews. That's why she's called Mrs. Geek and not Mrs. Beard. Plus, she doesn't have a beard. Speaking of merch, there will be a link in the description down below, and maybe at the end of the video, I'll show some of the few people have already bought it. Absolute legends. Right. Really haunted. I'll stop doing the video every time he does a video. He's copyright striking the hell out of me. I've argued them. I've won about 50% of them. What a noob. Anyway, this is called, oh my god, it's happening again. Sleepwalking. I tell you who's not sleepwalking. His wife. Which camera is that? Ooh, that's better. Sarah. Sarah. You're right there. You haven't moved for 3.5 months. Would you like an ambulance? Would you like some orange slices? Does she even have a pulse at this point? I mean, there is some weird noises in this house.
I'm sorry.
Gosh.
Does she even have a pulse? Would you like some orange slices? She hasn't moved for 3.5 months. I love him. Would you like an ambulance? Oh, Jesus.
House, she never moves. And even with those things stuck in her ears to drown out his snoring, farting, and ball scratching, they don't block out every noise. They just dampen it. So an alarm going off, he'd wake up. Bass drop. I just had to skip. Well, here we go. There's the black orb, right? That's going to swing around, go in his mouth, and he's going to exorcist style crawl across the ceiling. He's not going to do that because he can't edit that. So, you know what he's done there is he's added in that black orb in post editing. He'll swing it around the image. He'll have recorded himself sleeping. He probably is asleep at this point, and he's coughed in his sleep. It sounds natural, and then he'll just add that orb in just before the cough. Same as he does with adding the stick figures in after the dog has reacted to a laser pen, laser pointer, or a squeaky toy. So we've just watched approximately 10 minutes of him stood staring at his own reflection, giving it all this. I'm really scared. I'm really scared. If I went to bed and just left my flip-flop or slipper in the middle of the floor like that, Mrs. Geek would tell me off. She'd do it nicely, like, could you please not just leave stuff laying in the middle of the floor for me to trip over? Did you see it? What's this? He's sleepwalking. Now, sleepwalking, he would know his way around his house while sleepwalking. That's a thing. My auntie used to do it. Find her all over the house. But this is out of place, not normally where it is. Watch his foot as he passes it. You can see where he's going, and he stepped around it. That's why these curtains are open. So he's got light in there. He's been stood there for ages. This is boring.
Yeah, if you sleepwalk, you're not going to step around objects that aren't normally there. He has a point. Like, oh, tell me you're not sleepwalking without telling me you're not sleepwalking. By stepping around objects like that. Some of the shit this dude does is just so blatantly bullshit that, like, it's ridiculous.
Are you still sleepwalking? Does he step on the slipper this time? That's not how sleepwalking works, you tit. Oh, look, he's just woken up. Great acting. Leonardo DiCaprio would be fucking jealous there. Absolutely jealous of your performance. Don't lick him. Ah. Dog, you don't know where he's been. He's probably been licking his own ass. I am talking to the dog.
I have no idea how I got here. All I know is
You walked down the stairs, you skipped around your slipper, you stood in the window. Wait. Paranormal Activity. He's copying Paranormal Activity. The stood there and rocking, staring.
was like on me. So she's obviously walked me. I don't know if Stacey's led her out or what's going on.
Don't you lie to me. We all know Stacey's in a coma. Apparently that's how Lee proposed to his wife. Do you smell chloroform? That's enough of that video.
Do you smell chloroform? Oh my god. I'm going to hell for laughing at that. Do you smell chloroform? That's terrible, Beardo. Don't lie to me. We all know Stacey's in a coma.
Be right back.
Hey.
Shit. Even worse than his usual efforts. What are you doing, idiot? Next video, and Lee still hasn't learnt. Dots at the joints. That's how the Xbox 360 The Xbox One will track you. This one has no dots. That's an Xbox 360. Two separate programs.
So I know you have absolutely no problem with that.
Why are these ghosts constantly dunking their balls on your head? Right, Scary Night at My Haunted House, it's just the stick figures. I'm not watching it because it's just the usual shite. Okay?
Why are the ghosts always dunking their balls on your head? That's a good question.
Hey, so the walls are alive in my haunted house.
Hi guys, so the noise has been going crazy. Again, it sounds like it's coming from in the attic.
It's Jumanji. It's got a Jumanji board in the attic, idiot.
But from past experience, when you... But I've not heard it this bad in a long time.
Clearly, because I've never heard it.
I'm going to up. Proper now. Yeah, I'll open it.
That's not the sound of something banging or dragging in his house like he's going to claim it is. That is the sound of wind on a microphone. He stood at the back of his house, probably, got some wind sound in the microphone and overlaid it.
Oh, no.
Added some bass drops with reverb in there.
Okay. I want to see more of this.
Because everybody keeps a ladder at the top of these stairs. Come on to you, Lee. Now, I watched recently The Shape debunk him walking out of the bedroom and then the attic trap hitting him on the head. And you saw him knock the wall twice, and then he stands under the attic, somebody drops something straight onto his head, it bounces off, he goes, "Oh, it hit me head." Clearly staged, whatever hit him in the head was obviously quite light, like plastic, and didn't make that much of a bang when it hit him. Look what he pulls down there. That is a wooden attic trap door. I've got one of them. If that had hit him on the head, that'd have given him a concussion. Added to the fact, as the Shape rightly pointed out, this is your attic. This is your attic trap, your attic door. It sits on a frame. You can't possibly drop flat onto his head to stop him getting injured. It would have to drop this way. By the way, his newer videos are undoing his older videos. He is full of poop.
Sure, what's up here anymore? I know that.
His newer videos are undoing his older videos. He is full of poop.
I like the way you said that. I think I've seen him before. I think I've seen his videos before.
He
looks
he's
familiar.
a homie, and I adore him for it. He's a good dude, though. I think I've got to work tomorrow. That's why I kind of did an earlier stream. So I'm gonna go lay down and watch more stupidity and go to sleep.
Okie dokie.
I've had a good time. I enjoyed going
did
over
too.
some new legends.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, we learned the true story of Aladdin, not the Disney version. And you guys can let me know what you want to research next as far as mythical creatures, legends, or folklore, and we can dive into it.
Sounds good.
I think I want to do like fairies and gnomes and things like that because people oftentimes forget about those things.
I'm not sure on those myself. I'm skeptical. But I seen one video that was really interesting on a fairy. It was really good.
They are just as much responsible as paranormal stuff for things that happen in nature, like what could appear to be paranormal could be a fairy fucking with you to get you out of the forest. But we will go over gnomes or maybe sirens, various folklore myths and legends.
That'd be interesting.
Because they are very interesting stories, if nothing else.
I would like to learn more.
I like mythology. It's a thing. And I would also like to dive into Norse mythology and all the creatures that come with that.
Wouldn't mind Greek
I
mythology.
am Norse pagan. But anywho, I love you guys. I've had fun with you. And I will see you tomorrow.
Okay. See you later, Panda. Good
Bye.
stream. Bye. Bye, everyone. Y'all have a good